I was an unwanted child. I grew up with a total lack of love. Each day, I heard in my house, "Why you are here? You are ugly, stupid." And I often thought that I was a wrong note. For me, school greatly contributed to this belief. Very often at school, when our inadequacies are penalized, we don't consider ourselves with kindness. We judge ourselves with disdain. School, through comparison, has taught us to mislove ourselves. Competition is not a healthy way of stimulating us. It is war in disguise. How many of us, believing they are inadequate, feel guilty and have a poor consideration of themselves? How many have been destroyed by their quest for perfection? As for those who are still standing up, they spend their lives trying to prove that they have a little value. No wonder that there is such hunger around us. Hunger, not hunger. What is my worth? What is my worth? Do I count? Am I important? School should give us the answer to these questions. Education should help us to build in the heart of every child the sweet certainty that is a worthy person and that the other's value is priceless. I remain convinced that the best way to build peace and to overcome poverty is to teach everyone that they are worthy to themselves and worthy to others. This worthiness gives us no power. It just reveals our capacity to put our strengths to the service of humanity. As for myself, I decided to create the caravan of love in order to spread peace. We travel the world to meet its populations and declare our friendship, share our music, share hugs, and film these encounters. This may seem absurd to you, but it is no less absurd than to invite them with tanks and guns. The next trip will be in Tibet. If you want to come, bienvenue. We should be amazed and marvel at whom we are. What an incredible adventure. We should strive to show the beauty of mankind, because the only way to make humanity grow up is to entice it to love itself. Sometimes, certain people idealize those who have an exceptional life. Such an attitude can prove to be dangerous, as it nourishes a cult of perfection. In my case, there is nothing to idealize. I've had my share of silly, unconscious behavior. During that period of my youth, I hurt several persons with my way of life. Even after having been forgiven, I nevertheless carry deep within myself an acute suffering due to my lack of discernment. To forgive oneself is extremely difficult. For sure, in this time, I was so afraid that life might leave me behind. One of the biggest clues which helped me to find peace is when I realized that to understand the messages of the wrong notes of life, I had to accept them with affection. Yes, it is important to be thankful as soon as we are ready, and the sooner the better. Gratitude gives us freedom and enables wrong notes to intensify the melody of our life. This is, in fact, what the greatest composers teach us. Their music tells us how our history is composed of joy and agony. Can you imagine a masterpiece of Mozart that ends at the first dissonance? The composer would then write a double bar and mention underneath, cry and sulk. It will make no sense. How beautiful it is to hear the musician gradually bring the wrong note to harmonic resolution. This is the real expression of being a genius. This is the key of life. For sure, the adventure of life is all about magnifying the wrong notes. Here lies the real purpose of life. Wrong notes teach us love. How many people have never really fulfilled their dreams? How many people were buried with their hidden desires? There is nothing surprising to see on a tomb eternal regrets. In time, bodies become dust, but the sense of frustration survives through their families. Life sends us wrong notes inevitably. They are part of the game. you can see now that the task is not to complain and condemn them, but to transform these wrong notes into a symphony of life. Therefore, without fear, welcome and dare every single note of your life. You will then embrace silence. If you are a couple, it is important to share these wrong notes and to magnify them in complicity. What an exciting adventure it is to live their vibrance in full consciousness. So, whatever happens, love. Such a state of being heals and amplifies. The wish I have for all of us is to have on our graves this epitaph. Whatever happened, he or she loved. Do not be ashamed of yourself, despite your flaws and failures. Stop feeling guilty. This goes against your evolution. Do not deny your nature. Honor it and offer it to the world, simply. Why do you strive to highlight your difference? You are different anyway. Better build bridges toward yourself and towards the others, and constantly create links that will set you free. Do not seek perfection to be more. Prefer seeking gentleness in order not to spoil anything, starting with yourself. Gentleness induces excellence. Put your heart in everything you do without expectation. Any act, if committed with your full present, is sufficient as it is. Do you realize that your life is unique in the whole history of this universe? Isn't that incredible? To conclude, embrace who you are, because you won't last forever. You are rare, therefore infinitely precious. The same goes for others, which explains why every being should be fully considered. As long as you are not conscious of this, your mistreatment of yourself and of humanity will continue. Finally, you see that to be clumsy and inadequate is not a fault. It is our nature. More than being our nature, it is an opportunity. Being imperfect is a gift. I hope now you can say, I am imperfect, and it's wonderful. Welcome you, transform you. This is a great adventure of life. Your adventure, the only one. Do you want to know what perfection is? Perfection is imperfection who loves itself and surrenders. Thank you for listening.